hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is the road trip. We're a little bit early today. I had some things to do, and so I had to start a show a little bit earlier than had planned. But we set it early, and we'll see who joins us. But I do have a little surprise, and we'll get to it right away. I don't like. Actually, my wife really likes. She doesn't like to wait, but I usually like to wait. But for this one, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting at all. So, everybody, welcome back to the show. You'll see
Hero.
there's Mr. Tom is in the house. So, a little surprise there. So, Mr. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm using the opportunity to see if I can actually move my arm.
Oh, yeah, it's working.
I've
It's
not been
moving.
able to wave for like 7 weeks at this point.
Oh my. Oh my. It's
Hello.
good to see you on the show. Good to see you smile. Good to see you, you're moving and yeah. So this will be a short one, folks. Not as long as our usual ones, just because like I said, I have things to do. But thought we would bring back the show because we took a little hiatus for a week or two. I guess it's just 2 weeks, but 1 week, 1 day, and we're back. There's a lot of well, the window is what opened again, so we will get into that and then some. So, Mr. Tom, I guess I guess I have said this before, but congratulations, you have Leeds are back in the Premier League.
I don't believe it. We
You're
actually did it.
you're back in. Yeah, the season. We have chatted about this, but it's no problem to do it again. It looked like you were gonna, they were gonna test your resolve, but they did fall. They did complete the deal and get you even more, a trophy at the end. Yeah,
Got the trophy.
yeah.
I,
So
I
yeah.
was I was so excited.
Mm.
I was jumping for joy if I could have walked, which I couldn't. But you know,
Yeah.
I was like doing thumbs up on the hospital bed.
Yes. No, it's good to see you. It's good to see you here. And
Everyone knows what happened, so
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
presume so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if
But
you
still,
saw Anthony was asking. He's like, I said I'm having an early show. He's like, is Sam going to be on? And I'm like, huh. I see where his loyalties are. And he said, is it if Sam doesn't join or if he does join, are you joining? He said, I always join. And then he's looking for handouts. So I don't know. We'll see if Anthony joins us. So but yeah, we're here. I
get
don't.
our Anthony in it. I haven't seen him for weeks. Well, I
Yeah,
haven't seen anyone for weeks. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
I'm
don't.
quite excited.
Oh, cool, 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 cool,
I was
cool.
like, oh, we've got a comment, but then I realised it's you.
Yeah, me just like priming the chat. When I started the show, I thought something weird happened. Like, because I usually when I can, I will start the show up on Instagram, and then also it's on YouTube, of course. So I started it up, and usually YouTube starts after like whatever 30 seconds or so, because it's got to stream it. But today, Instagram was really quick, and YouTube took it even longer. So I don't know if whatever we say will probably be a lot of further ahead than we are usually with most people when they put their post in on what we're saying. So we'll see how that all plays out when people do join, and they'll be pleasantly
I
surprised when
noticed
they
you've
join.
I noticed you've got a new intro.
I updated it. Yeah, I did update it a little
Yeah.
bit. I put in some pictures and stuff and some phrases
No,
and stuff.
it's
So
very
yeah,
good. I was watching it. I was like, okay, these are different images from what I'm used to on a weekly basis.
yeah, yeah. I
Because when
changed.
I've watched along, obviously I don't really, quite frankly, obviously I haven't seen the intro. Otherwise I'd have known that you changed it. But uh,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's Well, I updated it. A friend told me to update it because like the phrase that I use all the time, "Don't waste a trip" and all of that. He said you could at least put a trademark on it. That way, you can show that it's been something you've been. I mean, I've been using it for years now, so um So I said, "Oh, okay, I'll just do that." So now it's out there. It's been out there for a while now, and we'll see what we do with that. Because like at some point, I might want to put it on a shirt or something. So I should be able to do that without having to worry about any of the legalities of it. So that's why I did that. But yeah, and then it's the new season, so I'm going to have to spend this summer thinking of a new intro, new I usually use back the same background for my shows, but then I change the wording and position and all that stuff. So that's the new thing for the new season, and we'll see how that plays out. All right, so the window opened, the window closed, the window's open again. Um, I
No one's doing any business.
Well, it's funny. I did look at that just to see what was going on, and the busiest teams, of course, are the ones that we know, right? Um, City, Liverpool, Liverpool definitely. City is probably more of a Club World Cup thing, as much as we need to get back on form. But Liverpool seems to has been busy, but hasn't been that busy, but has been busy in a sense that they probably spent as much money as a lot of teams have already. Like there's probably 10 teams that haven't spent as much money as Liverpool has. Because I was looking at the teams that have done business, and just to give you a kind of a quick update, Arsenal at this point, it looks like it hasn't got into transfer market, but we know that Zubamendi is in. Aston Villa has done one deal for like 7 mil. Uh, Bournemouth one deal for 13. Brentford's done about 3 deals. Callagher being, I think, the biggest one there. Brighton has actually done a lot of business, but I'm not sure any of these are big names. A lot of these are U20. There's some they brought some of their players over. Burnley's actually done. They've brought in 4 players right now.
Yeah, but they all played for them in the championship.
Oh, is that what they did?
That was turning loan deals into permanent
Okay.
obligations to buy.
All right. Yeah,
So
because
they've
there's
not actually improved their team at all.
yeah, that's interesting because you think I guess you want to dance with the ones that got you there, but then you should know that it's the Premier League, so it is a big jump. It's a big jump. So yeah, maybe so but as like I said, there's 4 players there. Chelsea, of course, has done what Chelsea does. I mean, Delap is. I don't know if you saw. I saw the match yesterday. Delap actually looked promising, right? Delap looked promising. Did he score? No, but he looked promising. Did he if you're looking at, and we'll get into this probably because if you saw it, what happened to Nico Jackson. But he gave you promise, right? The lap gave you promise, just like Jackson does, but the results were exactly the same, right? He wasn't able to score. Jackson decided he doesn't like to get suspended from one cup tournament. He's now suspended from 2, is my understanding. So he's now suspended from 2. So um, it was a silly foul that he did. I mean, he pretty much stomped down on the guy's foot. I mean, he didn't clip the shin or anything like that, but just came down pretty hard. Definitely dangerous play. Yeah, but we'll say hello to a couple people who have joined us. We've got Brenny in the house. Welcome to the show, Brenny. Got AJ. AJ's in here. Yeah, it says that was a good more. That's one of those early morning things that good more. And he goes right back to sleep, but then he woke up. Good morning, gents. Welcome to the show. Yeah, so yeah, okay, so early morning show. We are chatting here, kind of just going through all the teams, um, somewhat official transfer of business.
I would argue that it's dangerous play sending Nicholas Jackson onto the pitch when you're losing.
I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, they needed to do something different, and guess what he did? He did something different.
I'm gonna make it even harder for the team.
Yeah, well, you know what? That is the way that is it Flamengo played? That is the way teams that beat Chelsea played, right? Because they are not. If you make silly mistakes, they will punish you because they do have enough. If you make enough silly mistakes, they will punish you because a player like Neto is scary good when he gets opportunities. But you go to the other side, you go to the center of the pitch and all of that, you're not going to get the same thing over there because is it Madike? He's not that good in terms of clinicalness, and we know Delap and Jackson are probably in the same boat. So yeah, they still probably looking. The one play that looked, I don't know if you've seen it. One play that Chelsea does have that's coming in is that Estavio play from Palmeiras, and if you've watched Palmeiras in the Club World Cup, he's actually looked really good.
I'm
Yeah,
actually quite enjoying the Club World Cup because
yeah,
ultimately, from my perspective, my life or reputation, whatever, doesn't actually hinge on the tournament being successful. So to me, it's just something to watch or something to have on, knowing it exists.
yeah. No,
Because I
no.
know I'm supposed to sit here and basically say I don't know why they're playing this. Oh, it's all corruption. We know it's corruption. Like, but the fact is, the game is still happening. It's a summer. We sit around going, oh, I wish there was more football on during the summer. There is more football on during the summer. It's not the football certain people want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah. No, no. You're right about that. You're right about that. Like, I mean, I don't think I hope people don't want more football. To tell you the truth, because the players can't do it. Not the way it's set up. No, the players can't do it. Let's just say that you're not going to get your best players playing at their optimal if you're playing this much football.
Yeah,
They're
but
gonna.
be
They're
fair,
gonna.
Gary,
Yeah.
your team's not in it. My team's not in it, so I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah. That part I get. That part I get. But I think in general, next year when the World Cup's on and most people's teams are playing, most of the players are playing from a lot of these teams. The ramifications are what? Who comes back from the World Cup? Sorry, who actually makes it through the World Cup and is available for the start of the season? Because this year it's at a reasonable time, meaning the summer. And how does that play out in the rest of the season? All right, because you know Arsenal will tell you. I mean, Arsenal fans will tell you we lost Jesus because of the World Cup, and he hasn't been the same since. So I kind of feel like what? Yeah, it's too much football, but I think it's also teams have to have bigger squads. I don't know if that means more money or what, but they need to have bigger squads. But then that kind of what dwindles down the
Football is
yeah,
broken.
yeah, yeah.
The
This
truth
yeah,
of it
true,
is,
true.
as a sport or as a business within the sport, it is broken.
Hmm.
And I can see and say lots of things that are negatively going to impact my own team based on it, but generally, as a whole, the sport itself is broken,
Yeah.
but it's too far gone. You're never going to get it back to like because it's partly this PSR stuff and all
Mm.
this, which
Hmm.
in my opinion, they created it because of
Yeah.
fear that Newcastle was just going to spend £1 billion every year and then win
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And basically, everyone got together and was like, "How can we prevent this?"
Yeah.
Essentially, and people could say that wasn't necessarily what was said. I bet it was said because funny how Newcastle they got the deal done to get the government basically was like, "Yeah, or the league, whatever, we're like, we're going to allow this." And then the Premier League, Man United, Arsenal, the big six. Let's be fair. Basically, we're like, what can we do? Because a lot of the PSR doesn't affect your team because your team makes money hand over fist. And congratulations to you. Like, I'm not angry that you do, but it's a thing that doesn't affect your team as much as it does a lot of other teams. And it's this glass ceiling which you can look at it and I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. Like, for
Yeah.
example, Aston
Yeah.
Villa
No. Yeah. And I was gonna say
spent
on.
loads of money to
Yeah.
get into the top four,
Yeah.
and now every year they've now got to sell their best players
True.
or
Yeah.
or or finagle the finances to basically even remotely have a chance of staying in that top four. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, I hope they don't stay in that top four because I can't stand them and Villa need to go fuck themselves. But that could be my team.
Yep.
It could be your team eventually.
Yeah.
I mean,
It could be any. It could be any team right now because it just takes a really bad sequence of events to occur, and next thing you know, you're in a bad spiral. I mean, one of the things I've said before, hopefully you've heard, I believe you've heard me say this. It's just bad for football, and this is more like sometimes this is to do with the way the referees are handling things, the way VAR is being used, the penalties that they put down on the lower teams. Like Crystal Palace should be playing. Should even be a question. They should just be playing in the Europa League. Done. Did they not fill out their paperwork the correct way? Yes. Should they be punished for it? No. Because why? It's bad for football if they get punished for some paperwork. That's all it is. It's just paperwork.
Are the rules being followed to letter? Yes. But the bigger problem is you're basically punishing Crystal Palace for not anticipating. Well, not your punch,
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Okay. I know you personally ain't doing this, but the sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts on it.
The Crystal Palace getting shut out. We're getting
Well, obviously, because the rules are the team that finishes higher stays in the competition, but that relies on Crystal Palace realising in March or in February, so I think the deadline's March the 1st, then go, we might actually qualify for Europe through one of the cups or through the FA Cup. And then they've got to start trying to finagle their finances for stuff. And I know people will sit there and go, what about Man City? But people say this thinking that means Man City are going to get booted out of Europe. Congratulations, you've just gone and got Girona booted out of the Champions League. Well done. Sort of thing. They earned their way in as well.
Yep.
But
it's a silly. The rule doesn't make any sense to me because either like if they're saying that only one team in a conglomerate can get in, then you're defeating the purpose of allowing the conglomerates, all right? Because now you're saying that it's a one team thing, and it's not. It's not. If you allow, because in one breath you're saying you're allowing a group to buy up as many teams as they want, and then you're saying, but you're gonna get punished for it for real. I don't understand unless they think there's coercion, and that's the only reason why they would say that. But they want both their teams to go in, so where would there be coercion, right? There wouldn't be. The only thing you see it is when they have transfers, right? Like City will bring in a player, and you're like, well, are they finagling the transfer rules by bringing in a player from one of their clubs? That's the only thing. Let me go through the chat real quick because there's a lot we can stay on. We can stay on this topic.
Please do. I've got some favorites in here.
Yeah. So starting off the top, a man who came in, he was looking for Sam, but I think he's happy that Mr. Tom is in the house. It's Anthony Herbert says, "Rolling big, Mr. Tom. Hope you're well. You can't see me. You can't see him. There you go. There you go." Got Dad in the house. Dad says, "Good afternoon, Gary. What a pleasure to see your co-commentator. Divided loyalty today." And he means he's actually, I think, enjoying England getting smashed by India right now in cricket. So
we're getting smashed by India in the cricket.
Yes. I think
it's the most unsurprising sentence I've heard in a long time.
But I think he's enjoying it. It's like I don't know if you're like it's like watching Michael Jordan destroy some team for like 100 points or something like that.
Philip Bluefan was the greatest man that ever lived, and if he wants to see England get destroyed in the cricket, then I'll pull up a chair and get a nice cold drink, and I'll be like, "Let's go, sir."
There you go. Yeah, so he's going back and forth between the cricket and us. Yeah, Anthony is saying the same as everybody else. It's great to see Mr. Tom back.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see him back on here. Got Chris Nix in the house. He says, "Hey, handsome chaps." Yes. And Chris Nix is a West Ham fan, right? Got Chris Nix says, "Welcome back, Mr. Tom." Thanks, Chris. Like when you were just talking there, and we'll get back to the just football being screwed over, but
club ownership.
I think it's if I'm thinking correctly, West Ham has some players that people. Is it West Ham? Who does McGinn play for? Because now I get my
Aston Villa.
Okay, so like McGinn is a player, I think every team in the league wants to have on their squad. They want him on their squad. They don't need him on their squad. In the sense that you want somebody like him who can some people say, I want him to come off my bench for me. and some teams will say, well, he's better than what we got starting for us. That's what I
Yeah,
believe.
I
That's what.
don't like him, but
Well, why
yes,
don't you like him?
yes.
Because of his football or because of like
Well,
what
no,
is it?
no, I was about to say why, but I played it in my head and I was like, that's actually a really silly reason because it's because basically he injured Archie Gray and like Archie Gray no longer plays for my team. Why
Mm,
do I still care? But
mm,
in a pre-season friendly game, um, I believe it was a game in Australia. This could sound really silly, but basically John McGinn fouled Archie Gray. And I don't, when I say fouled Archie Gray, I mean the context. This is Archie Gray was, I think he was 16. He was either just turned 7. Well, obviously he's still really young, but he did a foul on him, which is basically it should be illegal because it injured him for like the rest of the whatever you call it. Basically, he was out for a while. And we still got 40 million for him. So we didn't do badly out of it. But the point was basically, I think it just showed that he's a bit of a scumbag. All because Archie Gray did a hard tackle on one of their players, and he thought, I need to show this kid a lesson, and he did, and he really did. Give him his credit. It's like he made his point, but the fact of the matter is, I still look at that and think that says a lot about you as a person. But at the same point, he's a great footballer. And yes, of course, if he was on my team, I'd love him to start strangling 16-year-olds. So,
I hear you. Well, what I'm saying, well, the reason why I brought him up is because I feel like he's a player that you're probably not going to go out and buy from another team. So he'll be there for a while. He'll be at wherever he is, and you know what? Then you have him. You don't have to worry about like he brings it. Like if you're watching a
he sure
game and he's
does.
on the pitch, he's either going to bring it, like you said, or maybe some of his aggressive nature, but then also he might get that goal for you, or might put that ball in for you to get your team ahead. So that's the part
He's a great
that
footballer.
yeah. So that's the
He's a
kind of
talent.
you want to be in that level all the time for the teams, as you say, lower in the mid table, because then your players aren't getting
100%
picked
player.
apart.
You're never
Yeah.
going to get him turn up and put in a 7 out of 10 effort.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
always going to get him at 100% effort.
Yep. Yep.
The dream to have in your team. Don't get me wrong, if he played for Leeds United, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he
Yeah. No.
doesn't.
No.
So
No. No.
they
I
can't do that.
yeah. And I hear
I'm going
that.
to
I
swear it
hear
and things
that.
like that. But
Yeah, no, because we were talking about bad football, and you were talking about the mid table getting screwed over by PSR. But I think, and if it's where the money comes into play. That's one reason why that matters, right? The teams want to hold on to their money, and they can't find enough. They can't do it by winning trophies. The only way they can do it is by selling their players. I feel so. They're like, you know what? We've got a lottery ticket. A lottery ticket says we sell our player that we brought in for 5-10 mil for 40 to 100 mil, right? Why not? You do it. Like you look at Brighton. I mean, they've sold how many players at over 80 mil in the last like 3 or 4 years, right? You would like to think they should be better for it in the long term because now they've taken a player they know they can build up anybody. They bring in another one. Sounds like, but they're a rotating door. They don't ever stop. So they're going to lose out. I was going through the rest of the teams in terms of. I mean, Crystal Palace hasn't brought in anybody. Everton's brought in one player. Fulham, nobody. Leeds has brought in a centre forward from Wolfsburg on a free transfer. I think we
yeah,
so Liverpool of course has done probably the outside of City has done the biggest amount of business. Um, Liverpool has spent about 166 mil, and City has spent 130, which is probably what every other team in the league probably, if you add it all up, they're close to that amount based on where we are. Um, and so City's actually done probably bought in 3 players of substance, and
no, Man
Liverpool's
City
bought
got
2.
fined this week. Man City got fined for, I'll try and get it accurate, for the amount of time they waste in games for like kicking off at half time and things like that after half time. Like it, I can't remember the exact numbers, but generally it added up enough to which the league fined them £1 million.
A
From
million
what I
pound.
believe, what I believe really occurred there is basically they decided how we're going to get our Christmas party funded down at the Premier League headquarters. Let's just make up a thing about Man City and they'll pay it because they're going to turn up and go, oh, so do you want it in cash or whatever? But in all seriousness, my favourite part of it is there were people on this article. It was on the Athletic. Going, oh, they're finally clapping down on Man City, and I thought it proved to me that people don't read articles because the article itself stated they got fined $2 million for the same thing last year. They always come out late after kickoff or whatever. To the point where the league done for $2 million last year. They obviously wanted a much lighter Christmas party this year because only fined them $1 million. But my biggest point is they're not. People going, oh, they're finally clamping down. It's like they've done it for the same charge before. Like,
and it's supposed to go up when it's a repeat offender, not like go down. I mean, what's that saying? It's not saying anything really. The message is not
going to be a deterrent against these things, but instead, Man City are like, they might only charge us $500,000 for the same shit next year.
True. Yeah, Anthony says here, City's bought 5 players in total. We've got no one in yet. Arsenal always been slow in getting players. Yeah.
Mr. Herbert, I know you're not a stupid man. I know deep down that you know that Arsenal will pull the trigger on July 1st or whatever it is, because that's when your PSR accounts start up again for next year.
Yeah, and you know what? And I actually don't believe it's more Arsenal than it is some of the other teams that they're working with as well.
I was going to say, it's not just Arsenal, but in terms of like people going, when are we going to buy players? You're going to find in July is when it's going to start happening. Like, I know it's for my team because my team will foul PSR if we buy a player now and like legally file the paperwork. Like, we've signed a player for free, but if we'd paid cash in the fact is we will foul it.
Yeah.
Because, although we have not signed players for a lot of money, it's all the wages because we paid big wages for the championship. Obviously, we had like the biggest wage bill you'd ever see in it.
Yeah. No, I hear that play that leads, or after I sent Mr. Tom, I've seen videos of him. He looks like a good player.
Players always tend to look great on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can see, you know what? You want to see the good things. Like,
I'd rather see the good things while he's wearing the league shirt.
Well, that's the thing. So, but you've seen them, so you know that it's there. The trick is, can you get it out? And like you said, while they wear your shirt.
Really, I'm being facetious to him, obviously.
Yeah.
Annie Herbert could turn around and tell me that the sky is dark at night, and I'd turn around to him and go, obviously, it might be a bit dark, because I can't turn around to Annie Herbert and say he's definitely correct.
I hear you.
I just can't.
Yeah, Salomon is a player that you might lose. You could potentially lose. Like, you haven't signed him.
There was no agreement in place when we loaned him.
Oh, okay.
There was no option to buy or anything, because what I imagine really happened was they don't really know what he's worth. So if you have a year in the championship where he can show that he can play football, which he has done in my opinion, and I think it's arguable that I'm going to be quite fond of him given his 93rd minute goal that won the league, which I've never got to talk about. But still, anyway, that's not anyone's fault. But but again, this is up to him. Does he want to come? If I was him, I would not return to Leeds. I just wouldn't. Why ruin it? Why ruin it by coming in, rejoining for a relegation battle where you're barely going to see the ball comparatively? Because he got a lot of joy last year because obviously he was one of the best players in the best team in the league. So we're just going, let's get the ball to Mount Solomon, let him run with it or whatever.
You've heard it here, folks. Mr. Tom says he wants to go back to the championship. Solomon, we don't want you.
I have not said that. wrong. It's not wrong, Chris Nicks, to say that. I can see why he said that.
Yeah.
But just I'm looking at it from his perspective. He'd obviously be sitting again. Like I've heard, like Marseille are gonna like make a bid for him or something like that. It's like, to me that would be a far more attractive proposition.
Yeah.
But can he actually get paid better money at Leeds than at Marseille? Possibly. Because that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because the Premier League's where you get paid.
Yeah. Yeah. No. You know, when you put it that way, it does make sense that you know, a player who helps a team get promoted probably can not only upgrade to a league, the top league in the country that they want to play in, but also a different team. So why not? Because you know what, you strike when the iron's hot, right? And iron's never going to be hotter.
Furious that I've said that. They'll be like, how can you say that?
Yeah.
He's definitely should. Of course, if he come back to Leeds, I'd be thrilled.
Yep.
But at the same time, I wouldn't expect him to come back to Leeds and get 20 goals and assists again in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, the only way to do that is open yourself up, which until you've gotten that goalkeeper, it's not even an option to open yourself up like that, right? I mean, that's only we've seen it done. We know it can be done, but we know what the ramifications are, right? You need to be better defensively when you come up, if you're going to basically, you know, surprise attack people, essentially. Got a question here for you because it's been a while. Mr. Tom, I wanted to ask you, will CM Punk beat Cena for the championship next week?
Can
I say that Mr. Tom doesn't believe in wrestling anymore? He has turned another leaf. He can see you now.
That's quite witty, Gary. I actually believe there's more chance of Malice Solomon joining Leeds United next week than CM Punk beating John Cena in Saudi Arabia.
That would make for big TV if he does beat him, though, right?
It would, but I don't think he will. But still,
Cool.
I'm more. I've still not actually finished it from last night, so because I thought, I better turn this off, otherwise I won't make it in time for the road trip.
Oh, cool.
Road trip. Anyway,
there you go. Yeah,
the greatest show at 12:30 in the UK.
There you go. There we go. Yeah, no, I was looking at some of the numbers, and Liverpool and City have spent about 300 mil on players. The rest of the league has spent 500. That's 18 teams, right? So I think you know, here's the thing. I don't think City and Liverpool will spend that much more money. Do you?
No, because I imagine their houses are in order now. Like their transfers that they're making are very much I want it in place for pre-season training.
True.
Obviously, Man City's a bit different, obviously, because they're in a natural tournament. But
yeah, because I know people were saying Isak might be the next player to go to Liverpool, and I'm like, I mean, I don't think they're going to spend another 100 mil on it. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen two players for over 100 mil go to one team. Not that I've been following enough, but I would say you barely get two players of 100 mil in the same season in world football, much less two to the same team.
Yeah,
right.
It will happen eventually, just because of the sheer economics of inflation, and every player is now worth more than they would have been 5 years ago. Just by the nature of the fact that as soon as the real thing that ramped up transfer fees was PSG buying Neymar for 200 million. Because that instantly meant your 100 million pound player, you probably could have got more for him.
Yeah.
Purely off virtue that, what's his name? PSG just went, no, we'll pay him 200 million for him.
Yeah. They forgot that when you spend all that money, you have to make sure you can coach them. because that's for me the only reason why it didn't work. You can't tell me a team with Neymar and Messi and Mbappe. I think we're all in the same squad together. You can't tell me those three players if you can't figure out a way to get them to work where it doesn't matter who you have on the back line, you will pay, right? And if that's not the case, then you've done something wrong with the way that you decided to spend money and who you brought in to coach them, right? You can't bring in a Pochettino, I believe, and say here are these players, do something. Here's Tuchel. Is it Tuchel was there as well? Here are these players, get it, make it work, right? That's not that's where you have to have like your Phil Jacksons in the NBA. Just get him the best players, he'll get it to work, right? Your best, your best, the best managers and coaches out there in the world. So I think they've realized now, right? They sold everybody and they went out and won a Champions League. So obviously it has all to do with the players. And I'm going to say that jokingly. I think it had a lot to do with the way they were coached, right? You need to Richie with the players you got, and they did.
We all knew, and it's easy to say now, but there was a lot of people, and I'm not going to say I felt like they would definitely win the Champions League, but I figured their best shot here was the one where after they got rid of all the star forwards and then just bought sensible players that are obviously far too good for their actual league, but you knew they would actually defend as part of the team.
Yep.
I mean, this is true, but I could be totally wrong, but I don't think they actually paid for Mbappe in the same window because I think they got him on loan and then paid for him after a year. Could be totally wrong.
And Barcelona, Coutinho and Dembele weren't in the same window, right? They were just to the same team. Right. So like two players in the same window, I don't think we're gonna see. But multiple players in a season in world football over 100, I think it's rare to see two. You might see it, but
eventually.
yeah.
No, it just will.
Yeah.
Well, it's been slowed down obviously by the fact that the Premier League has these rules that are limiting this.
Sure.
The Athletic did put up an article where it was essentially how can Liverpool afford to buy footballers for £100 million?
Yeah, and it is when you don't spend anything in the previous. Like, if you're saying you can spend anywhere, you see it anywhere from 150 to 200 in a season and not be punishing yourself, right? Then they spent what 25 mil in last summer. So they should have enough to bring in Wirtz. Now, here's what I feel will happen. Wirtz, is he worth 100 mil? And will they get 100 mil worth of football out of him? The question, the answer to that is it doesn't matter. They don't need to get 100 mil out of him. If Salah is anywhere near he was anywhere.
Yeah. Are they not? I can't
it's a Curtsy. It's Curtsy, right? Curtsy.
That sounds correct.
Yeah.
But they're roping back some cash.
Yeah.
Like as Chris Nix has said, they sold a player to Leverkusen, which I imagine was a big part of the transfer.
Yeah.
As silly as that sounds, basically we'll let you have one of our players, and if you knock 40 million off of the 100 million we're about to give you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and and that's.
And they got another player. Didn't they buy two players off Leverkusen? Frimpong?
Yes, you're right. Yes, but is he from? I didn't know he was from. Yeah, I guess he is from the same.
I have not.
They did. Frimpong and Wirtz both are from there, so they spent almost 200 mil in euros from Leverkusen, and basically that 40 mil for Kwanzaa covers Frimpong. Yeah, so. It's like it didn't happen, and but no. But here's my thing about this is where Arsenal gets it wrong. Like they will take a chance on their squad players. Liverpool didn't take chances. They actually went out and got a legitimate squad player that had some value to him. Kwanzaa, is he? He's not at the level of maybe a Frimpong if that's who they're replacing him with, but. like Kwanzaa has value, right?
I
Arsenal
don't know
will.
if Kwanzaa's any good.
Well,
Like,
he has
I'm not
value.
gonna.
He's played, like I've seen him come into games, right, and perform for them. So they didn't like lose, like they weren't struggling because they brought him in, you know. So I think he has some value. 40 mil probably is right in this market. The problem I have with my
But
team, and you know, maybe you have, I don't think you have your team in a championship. Maybe going into the Premier League, you'll see it, but your squad players don't have value. Like you can't sell them and get somebody better because because of it. Spend a little bit more and get somebody better. Like it sounds like Kwanzaa, like they, yeah, I guess Kwanzaa is being sold for more. If that's 40 mil is correct, that's about what 45, 50 euros. I think is that how it usually ends up about. So that's more than they bought Frimpong for. So like you said, they probably got a little discount off the words deal by
they,
yeah.
if I remember rightly, they overpaid on Frimpong
Okay.
purely because he had a release clause.
Mhm.
Chris needs to know about this more than I would. But
Mhm.
I got the impression that they paid over the release clause because they want to pay in multiple installments,
Yes.
and legally you have to pay the entire release clause
Yep.
immediately to break the contract. But if you pay over it, so I don't know exact numbers,
Yeah,
but
that's what
basically like
Arsenal doesn't pay release clauses anymore. It seems so. That's why they, the Zubimendi deal is, I guess, 5 mil more. I guess so they can pay it over time, which
yeah,
makes sense. I mean, do teams want to spend 150 mil in one window straight up, like all cash out the door? Probably not. Not probably not. Probably not. Anthony's got another question here, which is probably more geared towards me, but Thomas Partey. Looks like he's 1 minute. It's like he's out the door, but then it sounds like he's not necessarily
mm-hmm.
fully out the door. I think Arsenal did a really bad job at the end of the summer last summer when they didn't get him a contract before the season started. When they realized that Rice wasn't going to take his spot, Rice wasn't going to take his spot, and because they didn't have anybody else, they don't have anybody that's taking Partey's spot. Zubimendi can now, but Zubimendi is he's a different version of Partey. He doesn't give you all the same qualities, so things will look a little bit different with him. So I
He's
feel
a
like
player,
yeah,
Gary, that
yeah,
I'm very surprised to see Anthony say that, because I'm not gonna say that Anthony like he's a hypocrite or anything like that, because I don't know if he actually was slagging him off, but I get the feeling that Arsenal fans in general would have loved to have seen the back of him last year
well,
when he
why? But the
recently got.
question, the only legitimate answer to the question, reason for that for me is because he was injured all the damn time. So availability is the best of ability, and we know he had a good player. But if he can't play for us, then why are we holding on to him?
That's why I'm surprised to
Yeah,
see like things like because he's not the only one that said this.
yeah,
To be fair to him,
yeah.
like I'd like him to sign a new extension. If I'm like, but a year ago you was wanting to sell him, let
Yeah,
alone
I
like
I
what you've got.
I've been saying this since I was like, this is when you go in. Well, the one thing I've noticed, and this is where Edu and Berta are different in terms of the way that they're running this squad. Berta doesn't want any player to walk away for free. I mean, when you re up Sambi Lakanga, people are like, why is he doing that? He's not doing it because he wants the player. He's doing it because guess what? He doesn't want that value to go out, regardless of how much it is. Right? Sammy Lakanga doesn't want to be here. He wants to go as well. The other team will have to pay some monies for him. He won't just walk out the door. And I feel like, you know what? That's what Arsenal needs to do. Like players need to go with 2 years left in their contract, or you're re-upping with them. And it may not be for I want to keep them legitimately, but it might be because I don't want that money walking out the door. Even if you took a 50% hit, it's better than zero, right? You spend 40 on a play, you let them go for 20. It looks bad, but guess what? Zero, it looks worse. So I say, you know what? And I think I think Bert is going to hopefully make things a little bit different and better for us long term. I think a lot of people expect him to do things immediately, and I feel like this time next summer, if he's allowed to do what he needs to do, we'll be better for it because whoever we have on the squad will have some value. We've seen that, right? Last summer we sold 3 players for money that and some of yes, most of them were academy players, but yeah, we still sold them, right? We weren't doing that before. This year, right now
You should
we've got
never let any player go for free.
yeah, yeah, no,
Ever.
yeah, well, and yeah, I mean, yeah, yes, yeah. If they
If
once
you're
they
the
sign as a
second
first
best
teamer,
team in the country and one of the best academies, there is no
yeah,
excuse for
yeah,
your club letting people go to other clubs for nothing.
true, true. I
You're
wish
not
the
doing
yeah,
like doing the other teams a favour. Why?
yeah, yeah. No, no. Even if it doesn't help them the way teams expect it to, you still let money out the door, and that comes back to haunt you, right? So, but I think I've talked to some people about the academy and the way the academy at least is working these days. It's hard to hold on to these players, especially when you're, for example, at a club like Arsenal, who isn't winning trophies, so they have the no incentive to stay, right? And they're not going to pay them top some money. Like players they will take a smaller salary if they know they get to play, with the big club, the club winning trophies, right? It's easier for city players that are in the academy to stay around a little bit longer than they would, right? Liverpool, you've seen the Liverpool players stick around longer than they probably should, like a Callagher probably could have gone, a lot of players like that. But Arsenal, when you're not winning, it make like the two work in tandem, right? People will stay around. They might take a little bit of a lower salary to stay with you because they know, look, if I have an opportunity to play, even if it comes with a squad, I might actually win something. But at some point, their agents telling them, well, you know what, dude, I can't guarantee you a trophy, but I probably can guarantee you a bigger salary. So,
Your team should
yeah,
have won the title last year.
yeah, should have,
I
well,
know
should
that
have,
sounds
yeah.
insane,
No, we should have won
but
it 2 seasons ago because that was the one for me that it wasn't lost like everybody thinks in the one game in the second half of the season. It was lost when we didn't start off the season the way we needed to. We dropped too many points in the first half of the season to come back to haunt us in the second when we went on a whatever we won 16 out of 18 or whatever it was. So last season, the with the way that the summer went, you pretty much set yourselves up that everything has to be perfect, like it was for Liverpool. No injuries to worry about it, and people playing like you, and you're getting like a Salah-like performance, right? That's what we needed last season. We didn't get the injuries, and we didn't get players playing out of their mind, and the ones that did weren't going to help us score goals, right? Like, for example, for me, like Skelly would be that player that played well over what we thought we were going to get from them, but he's not scoring goals for us, and that was our Achilles heel in most of these games, is we didn't have the goals that we needed to finish teams off. So
what I find with your team, and I said like Liverpool, I'm not saying Liverpool don't deserve the title because they obviously did.
hmm
But far and away, obviously the best team, the most consistent, obviously the most consistent because that's who tends to win the title.
yep,
But what I mean when I say Arsenal should have won it is the fact of the matter is the reason you didn't win it is because whenever Liverpool did drop points,
yeah,
you also dropped points.
yeah,
You put no pressure on them, which is strange for the team that finished second,
yeah.
where they were never like it was a title race, but it wasn't really a race. It was
Well,
basically if
some
you
people,
stumble, we're
yeah,
gonna stumble as well.
yeah, some people will tell you, but that's the way that Arteta has coached his team. I mean, we need goals to win games, right? So what do? We do a like for like sub with our fullbacks. Someone will tell you he's trying to maintain the draw as opposed to try to get the win. And I'm like, you know what? When you have a 1 goal lead and you see that we're not getting an opportunity to get that second goal to go up 2 goals, maybe you make a change to maybe try to get that second goal, that extra goal, to get that extra buffer there. We don't do that, but we will take off an attacker, put on an extra defender. But sometimes we need to put on an extra attacker because guess what? Guess what? Our defense is that good. Our defense is that good, and if you can't lean on it ever, then you're wasting it. You know what I mean? At some point, you've got to say, look, the defense is good. You guys will stand up and hold on. I'm going to take one of these guys off. My attack, I need to punish them and finish it off. At some point, you need to do one of those two things. We didn't have enough numbers on the defense when we needed it, and we didn't bring in attackers, I think, when we needed to. So kind of I think for me, it's always been a coaching thing as to why we didn't get by. And not having the scoring has been an issue now for 4 seasons. We didn't get top 4 because we didn't have scoring late in the season, and we didn't have that scoring we needed in the last 3 second place finishes. People would say, but you scored 91 goals. And it's like, yeah, but what the goals that we needed to score are the ones that cost us the season in terms of winning a league, in terms of maybe winning a trophy, right? Manchester United goes down a man and we still can't win the game in a cup match. Manchester United, who finished, 15th? I mean, what? I don't care how many injuries we have. At some point, you got to be able to win those games, right? The only team that really punished us all season was Newcastle. Everybody else, we pretty much were in most games with them, right? It's kind of how I felt about it. So, one team has your number, that's fine, but you let the other teams, you kept other teams in the game. And I think that's why I think we went wrong. Yeah, Liverpool's probably going for another player. Yeah, I know that would get them over the 200 mil mark if they do that. So we shall see if that happens. I don't think it'll be a big play. I don't think Isak's going anyways. But who knows who they bring in? I think they said one of those young attackers they might bring in. That's the one thing they can do now is they can go young and bring in somebody they don't need for this season, but for maybe seasons to come. Arsenal is at that point, not at that point yet, because they're not able to hold on. We got a question for you, Mr. Tom. Where do you think Leeds will finish this season?
I'll accept 17th.
Okay.
And 17th will be a success because I've had 7 weeks of everyone telling me that we're probably going to finish 20th.
Yeah, I mean, I think teams, either teams that just got by in terms of finished mid-table or actually finished bottom of the table, towards the bottom of the table, some of those teams will fall back. Some of those teams will even have so it should be a challenging relegation attack. There might be one team that just finishes. It does a Sutherland, so Southampton basically, but then there'll be teams that you don't think of. Because I'm like, will West Ham be able to recover? Will Aston Villa, like for example, Aston Villa has PSR issues. If you let go Emi Martinez, are they bringing in a goalkeeper that gives them some of the qualities of an Emi Martinez? Probably not.
I mean, I don't.
So they're going to. I think West Ham will struggle with that. I think Aston Villa may struggle with what's going on with them.
Obviously, our survival depends a lot on. Obviously, ultimately, it depends on what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends a lot on basically we need another team that generally has good transfer windows to actually get it wrong.
Yeah. Well, like Wolves, are letting go some of their best players. Are they going to be able to keep up? The scoring. Like you're letting go some, their best attacker. Letting go, let go a player to City, right? Let go a player to Manchester United, making them stronger. Yeah. Right. So I think that's going to hurt Wolves, right? I think, like I said, Wolves. I mean, yeah, Fulham looked like they struggled towards the end of the season. They may take a step back, so it could be a challenge, there. So, Mr. Tom, Sam Greenwood got beat up by Ferret last week. What is your thoughts on this?
I mean, is there any footage? I'm not saying it didn't happen. What I'm saying is there any footage? Because if there is, may I see it?
Yeah, I think everybody wants to see it. Send the link. Put it in the chat. Got
I'm
Ozzy Good
waiting
in the
for it.
house. You got Steven from
How
Oz.
you doing?
That's right. He says, United are laughing if they get Emmy. Yeah, no, I think Emmy Martinez is a good goalkeeper, right? You have to deal with the attitude and all that kind of stuff, but that comes with the territory. You can't get one without the other, at least with him. So yeah,
I believe that if they bought him tomorrow, he would suddenly like lose the ability of goalkeeping because Onana was a good goalkeeper, and then
true,
he joined that club.
true.
He had a man of the match performance in the Champions League final. Onana, people forget this.
Mm.
He was really good against Man City in that Champions. Only won because of the one shot that beat him.
Yeah.
But now every shot beats him.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, that's probably the pressure. But I think Emmy Martinez has had the pressure, so I don't know. He might work out a little bit better. And I feel like he feels probably more confident of himself than Onana does, or did when he came in.
I'd quite like to beat Manchester United this year.
Yeah, no, that could happen. It may not be because it may not even have to worry about the goalkeeper. It might be everything else that's going on there. So yeah. Look at who everybody's joining in. Everybody's joining in a little bit late. We're almost to it. We're not going to end just yet, but we're going to end soon. But
hey, Mr. Zanzi.
Zanzi's in the house. He says Gary and Sir. He didn't even say Sir Lord, but he just said Sir Thomas of Leeds. Greetings and salutations to the pair of you. So how comes I'm Gary and he's Sir Thomas? I don't understand. Off Leeds, you get like 4 words when being presented to the masses, and I get 1. How is that? What'd you pay him? You don't want to get into it. How much it costs?
Quick enough to make something up at the moment.
You know what? You've been on the sidelines. The game is moving at game is moving at a certain speed. You will catch up. No worries about that. As I said, you know what? The mind you see what do they say? Sometimes when you come back from injury or whatever, the mind is like, yeah, I can do it, and the body's like, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, has to get going. Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe he goes somewhere when he goes somewhere else, right? Maybe when he goes somewhere else, and also it doesn't have that pressure of United on it. That's that seal on the chest, right? Yeah. And Gary, you're a Gaza. I think that's good, right? I don't know. I need translation sometimes. Oh, sorry. Greetings, Gary of the Chrome Dome. Happy now? I don't know what that means. I don't think that sounds as cool
it's referencing that you may be follically challenged.
Yeah, well, I shave all of it off. I don't. It doesn't grow that way, but it doesn't sound like Sir Thomas of Leeds. Let's just say that. So Zanzi, thanks, but no thanks. All right.
Leave Zanzi alone. He's very, very good to me during my recovery.
No, Zanzi is great. I like Zanzi. Yeah, he talks my ear off when I come on the shows with him. He just will talk me out, and I'm like, dude, can I get a check? Can I get a word in? Gaza is aerodynamic. So there you go. There you go. Oh man, yeah. No, I put up bookmarks of things, and I think so like the word now is that Partey wants Arsenal, but he doesn't want to take a pay cut. So how does that work, Mr. Tom? A player says, I want you, but I'm not going to we're not going to negotiate on the price the way you would like. I'm not going to,
I thought you might have been describing Junior Firpo.
Is he supposed to be leaving Leeds or something?
Apparently we did offer him a contract, and apparently he has decided to go back to Real Betis. Allegedly.
Whoa, wait, he's on loan?
No. But he came from there initially. And then
Oh,
he went from there to Barcelona, and then we bought him from Barcelona. So apparently, so he's probably going to take the offer to go back to Spain and play for Real Betis again.
wow. Well, you know what? If you think that Solomon may want to go and spread his wings somewhere else, then
And I totally get why he'll do it,
Firpo
because
probably would.
he'll get shown up potentially get shown up in the Premier League.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and why he worked his way back into favour in the club and become a bit of a cult hero, even though I was always behind him because Tom knows best. And and that's true. I was always behind him, but no, again, it's great because obviously he's a very fast footballer, but at the same time, the Spanish league is probably more suited for a player of his speed. Let's just say.
Yeah, well, I mean that's kind of the Nuno Tavares for Arsenal. He played as a fullback. Didn't work out so well. Goes to Marseille, I believe it is it Marseille? I can't remember where he is now, and plays as a wing back, and he looks all right. Looks better. Yep, yep. Zancy says he's been a Chrome Dome for years, mate. I don't always talk much. Yeah, I kid. You let the talkers talk. Yeah, you let the talkers talk. Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna make this is a slow descent. So, but we will be getting out of here soon. Anyway, Gary of the Chrome Dome is 5 words, where Tom is just 4 words. People always find a way to complain about something. Very true. Very true. But of the Chrome Dome versus Sir Thomas of Leeds, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going Sir Thomas of Leeds, and Gary has a bald head. I mean, there are differences.
It's your quality over quantity theory, isn't it?
It is definitely. I need quality. If you said one word like "sir," and that's it, and it was all caps with quotes and an underlined and highlighted, then I would say, what, that one word hits. But it's Gary at the Chrome Dome. Yeah, no. Sorry, Zanzi. I appreciate it, but Mr. Tom is a sir. I have questions. Oh, look at this. He's getting even worse. Sir Gary at the Paisley curtains. I don't know where you got Paisley curtains from. I don't even know where you got that from. I don't know where you got that from. But Sir Gary, yeah, that's like now I've got 6 words, so I guess now he's trying to up it. But you had to sir in front of anything. Yeah. So Gary, I will call you for the fry up. Kings know how that. Yeah, there you go. He's coming.
Fry up king.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Now Jurien Timber has spoken up for Arsenal in terms of it should be a busy summer window. My in the know says it should be a busy one as well. I don't think Arsenal fans would be happy with some of the names, because they're not happy now. And they weren't happy. Nobody's happy with Zubamendi, Sesko, or Gyökeres. Either one will bring concern to one side of the Arsenal fan base versus the other side. I think it doesn't matter which one you bring in, but as long as it's better than what we have, I think I'm taking it. So why not? We need to improve the squad regardless. If we bring in 4 to 5 players, 6 players, and we're improved, that's better than what we've done in the last 2 windows. So we need to do that. Hopefully we can hold on to Partey just because of the footballing part. Just because of the footballing part. So yep. I did take a look at Zubamendi's video reel, and he does look he looks good. Like you said, he can always look good in those highlights when they do all the positive things.
They picked the highlights that you liked, though, did they?
They picked the highlights that I liked. Yes, no, but they showed some things where I would have thought he may have taken a shot, and he didn't, and he passed it off for a worse opportunity to his teammate. Yeah. So so yeah. And there you can see the speed of the game versus what you would see in the Premier League and go, well, he won't be able to do that with us. You know what I mean? Like nobody's walking that slow and running that slow at you or towards you where you can just make that maneuver. So, the game will speed up. Game will speed up. Oh, look who is in chat. We've got this Bronco in VA
Hello.
saying hello to us. He's out there doing good in the world. That's Spencer and the fam. He said he couldn't come on the show because he needs his beauty sleep, is what he said, and he can't take away that beauty sleep on a Sunday, and then also on a Saturday. So so there you go.
Understandable.
So he needs at least one day of beauty sleep on the weekend. So
yeah.
And this was an early show, and I did, like I said, I just did it because I have I'm going got some plans with the boss. So, um, but I will be back regular time. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll have more. I think in the next week or two, we'll have more Arsenal chatter, especially as we get closer to July. As you said, things will probably go crazy in that first week because I think teams will, players I think start to come back in July from their vacations and stuff like that. So you're gonna want to bring in all of your transfers too. We know, I think Zubamendi. I don't know if he's back. I don't know if he's back from vacation or not, but he definitely was in London end of this week. So I'm surprised they didn't put any videos out. That's the thing. Usually Arsenal will do that. I don't. You know what? They haven't. Arsenal, have they announced? I don't know if Arsenal actually has announced. I don't know if they haven't actually announced that he is signed. I don't think Arsenal has. So that video hasn't come out yet. Also, Arsenal did lose one of their coaches, Carlos Huerta. Cuesta is now the Parma manager. So, 29 years old. I didn't realize he was. I mean, that's really young. I think because
he's not a professional footballer, though, is he?
No, but for a manager, like even like young managers, yeah. Like I don't think Arteta was that young when he joined Arsenal. So as a manager, so I think he was in his 30s already. This guy's not in his 30s yet. So we'll see how, I guess we'll put the parallels up as to how Parma does versus when Arteta took over Arsenal, just to, there'll be those comparisons, and then people will be like, why do we let him go? And then
if he does well, the narratives will easily become, why didn't we just move him into the managerial hot seat?
Very true.
Instead of
Very
Arteta.
true.
It's like, but it's not the same at all.
I mean, it's
not even a fair comparison.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it would have been an easier transition than what Arteta did. In the sense that he's already he knows the people that he's working with and the situation of the club, like from behind the scenes, right? You can only tell a manager so much when they come in the first time until they actually see it in practice, right? So, but so yeah, so I mean, it's good that people see something in Arsenal management, because I always said I think the assistants are holding Arteta back because they're not helping him get forward. Giving him better answers to questions that he may know or miss. So we shall see about that. We shall see about that. Anything else, Mr. Tom?
I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back. I mean, I'm not going to make a regular thing of it.
Yeah, when you feel like it, you're always welcome. I have to talk to you about the StreamYard thing later, but yeah. Whenever you feel like it, you should come in for a little bit. You don't have to even stay on for the whole show, as far as Yeah. I don't think I heard anybody's phone. Did you?
No.
All right.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Did he send you something? Is that what it is?
It did. It's back on 23rd.
Oh.
But basically it's grammatically incorrect because there's no such thing as a 23rd 23rd th
Mm.
23 th.
Okay.
Trust you to notice that, Mr. Herbert.
Yeah. 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 For those at least in the Arsenal, like ours, I think Arsenal has answers to anything that's coming up. So no Partey, they have an answer. No Gukares or Shesko, they have an answer. Right now, it looks like no West left wing. We have an answer still. So we'll see. I think Berta will earn his keep. We'll see. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I think he will, or else they didn't bring him in for the right
Also,
reason.
in the news,
Yeah.
Leeds United will be playing AC Milan in a pre-season friendly
Oh,
to commemorate the 25th anniversary of when we beat them in the Champions League.
that is exactly why they have it. They're having that game. They're gonna have shirts and everything with 25
In
on
my
it.
mind, that's why we're having the game. But no, it's been held in Ireland actually, so they can charge loads of money for tickets. I imagine.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's true, but I imagine it's not going to be cheap. But anyway, it will be happening.
How does that work? So, like, all right, so the diehard Leeds fans will make the trip up there to watch.
What to Ireland?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a lot further for the Milan fans to travel.
No, no. I mean, maybe the Milan. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I don't know why they're having the game in Ireland, for
Hmm.
example. I have no idea, but it exists. It's happening allegedly.
Oh, that's. I
But
mean, I guess it's cool, right?
yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than we're playing pre-season friendly against like the local non-league team. What we used to. Leeds once. This is genuinely true. In 2000, I think it's 2017, we had a pre-season tour of Myanmar, and Myanmar, not my aunt Ma. It's an actual real country called Myanmar, which at the time was going through war, a civil war, and Leeds United, the chairman at the time, took it upon himself to have us there to play a match, and we lost to their national team. The Myanmar national team
Uh,
beat Leeds United in a pre-season friendly.
uh,
It's
yeah,
it it exists, like it's a real fixture. It exists.
yeah,
Good times, good
yeah.
memories.
There you go. Oh, I just here. Lee, you got. You heard it here, folks. Fabricio Romano has just posted that Leeds have signed a new player, Jaka Bijol, on top of the player they already have. I think we already knew about him. Deal
Yeah,
sealed, and here we go, confirmed. So there you go. Second player, I believe. I don't know. He looks like
I
a.
believe he is a 6'3" centre back.
Yeah, yeah,
We need to buy big footballers
yeah, yeah. And I think you already have one with the other footballer that you brought in, Minchka.
from. He
He,
used to play for Man City.
yep, yep. German international from Wolfsburg. 1.85 meters. I don't know how tall that is. And
I believe that's about 6 foot.
okay, so a little shorter guy, but he can play anywhere in the front line. So there you go. So you
I
got you
mean,
went. So you
playing
went.
anywhere in the front line when you're at Leeds United in the Premier League is basically like saying, "Oh, well done. You're just going to stand there and hope for the ball to fall towards you at some point in this very difficult relegation battle." I suspect Mr. Bijou is going to see much more of the ball.
Well, like I said, you have to, you want to definitely want to solidify the back line, but you also want to make sure when you get a chance to score, you have people there that can do the job as well. So, yeah. All right.
I'm not complaining. They're trying. That's all.
Well, like you said, if players have, if players do what's right for them, then yeah, is that correct? Oh my gosh, let me just check something before we get out of here. Oh, okay. No, I thought this. I was looking at. They were showing. Somebody was showing a video, and it was an India score of 759 for 7. But I don't think that was today. Today, India is up 458 for 7 right now against England. So I think that's a pretty good score. I think that's a pretty good score. So we'll see. Can India?
17th.
Huh?
I'll take 17th. That's it.
17th is what you want?
I'll
All
take
right.
17th this year. I'll take 17th next year, and I'll take 17th the year after. Because then, if you can have 3 years of finishing at least 17th, then it becomes a lot easier to not finish 17th or to finish.
Very true. Very true. The only problem you'll have if you say 17th is then people are saying because Arsenal finished second 3 seasons in a row, finishing better than second in the 4th year will be even tougher. So you probably want to say 16th, so that if you do get 16th in a row for 3 seasons, even if you falter and you fall back, 17th is still in your grasp.
I've experienced this with. I remember seeing it when we finished 9th in the season back. I remember an individual, for argument's sake, we'll name him Bandy, because that was his name. He said, Leeds should qualify for Europe. I was like, I remember vividly going, what were we talking about? Like, we're good enough to push on. I was like, I'll take another season of 15th. And we ended up like finishing 17th. But the point is more the fact of immediately like just thinking like, we're gonna be a Premier League fixture from now on. Nothing wasn't proven.
Yeah.
Nothing happened that proved that to be remotely true.
Yeah. Well, I know you're not gonna like this, but Forrest is showing you can do it, and if you don't, I guess as you will say, do some of the business dealings that they did, instead of maybe finishing in the top 5, maybe finishing the top 10 is achievable. So I'm going to leave that.
It is achievable, but that takes a lot of creative accounting.
True.
I don't know if our accountants are that creative.
There you go. And Anthony says goodbye, I guess is what he's been saying. I think he said, Gary, have a good day, is what he said. So, Anthony, have a good day, sir. Enjoy.
Out of interest, why do you owe loads of people $100?
I don't owe any. I don't know. He thinks because he gave me a like, I have to pay him now. Yes. You need a new keeper. That is true. You should just go get Ramsdale. He's still available, and he can't get relegated for a 4th time, can he?
Yes, he can. He demonstrably can. There is no upper limit to how many times that man can be relegated. Clearly.
Oh man, my sister's in the house. She says you owe me 100 too. I don't know where is all these IOUs coming from? I don't know. I don't know.
YouTube comment section, evidently.
Yeah. But no, we are going to head out of here. Everybody, thank you for joining. As I said, this will be a short show, meaning not my typical 90 minutes. Plus,
it has actually lasted 121 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know. But if I do it before it hits 90 minutes, then it's been a shorter show. Right? Aaron Ramsdale to Leeds. There you go. See, that is the next thing. That right there will seal your fate. You will not get relegated. You're in.
I'm not even gonna. No, I'm not gonna allow Spencer to try and troll my brain into exploding for a second time.
There you go. Speak it into existence. Yeah. It's a good show. He said, "Nice seeing you." Yeah, it's been great having Mr. Tom on. This guy, when he made a mention of it, I thought, this man's joking again. So I didn't
Trust
really.
me, bro.
I was like, I didn't want to like ask because I didn't, I was surprised. I was surprised that I saw it in there because I saw, I didn't know if he meant in the chat or if he meant actually I would get to see him live. It's good to see you. It's been, since yeah, it's good to see you. It's definitely good to see you. We said stuff it. I'll chip in too, Gary. You owe me $100. See, everybody owes it's like, dude, this is an expensive show. If I was paying out, but yeah, if you want the source on Lee's chatter, go to Bronco in VA. He has it. Whatever you need, he'll tell you what's happening behind the scenes, what's coming up next. So everybody, thank you again for joining. Mr. Tom, say good night and goodbye to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Go fuck yourselves.
There you go. And that's probably the best way to end it. Enjoy yourselves. Remember to subscribe and like, and we will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy.